Good evening. Welcome to Center Street Church of Christ. Glad you're here. We got some young men coming forward, going to pass out attendance cards. If you can fill one of those out and pass it back to the center aisle, they'll come back and get it. I just have a couple announcements before we get started. Just remember Jerry Lewis and his heart procedure tomorrow that he'll have, and it will probably be an overnight stay after the procedure, so keep them in your prayers. Also, keep in your prayers Sherry Breaker with her knee replacement surgery she had last week, but she is at home recovering from that. And also for Nora Parham, she's back home recovering from hip surgery. Also, remember, announced this morning, Juanita Crow has a friend, somebody that actually helps her out of there, whose 3-year-old child is having some serious health problems. So if you would keep them in your prayers as well. Don't forget, also next Sunday is first Sunday of the summer quarter, so we'll be having worship services in here and then a fellowship meal downstairs and devotional time after the lunch, and then we will not have services next Sunday night. Does anybody else have any other announcements before we get started? All right, well, we're in for a treat tonight as the youth group is going to lead our services, so I'll turn it over to them.
So we appreciate everyone here this evening. Our thoughts this evening is entitled Memorial Day Challenges. You know, the first thing I thought of this morning, and I mentioned this down at Black Oak this morning, if not for Christ, we would not be meeting together tonight in fellowship with kindred spirits. When you look across this auditorium, you realize that people come from all walks of life here, all different backgrounds. And the beautiful thing about the gospel and the good news in the church that was set up over 2,000 years ago is that God, in His foreknowledge, set the church, the body, through His Son, so that we can gather together. And whether we realize it or not, we're pretty good at memorials, or at least we should be. Because upon the first day of the week, we have a natural memorial each Sunday. And that memorial, of course, is to remember Jesus and what Jesus did for us, and the death and the burial and the resurrection. And for over 2,000 years, people have been gathering together on the first day of the week as commanded, as God foreordained through the apostles' doctrine, that we meet together to remember Christ, to reflect upon Christ. So many of our scriptures tonight are going to reflect memorials in the Bible. And we should be pretty accustomed to that. Most importantly, we should practice it, of course, with full heart, wholehearted. If you look through the scriptures, you'll find in the King James Version that the word remember appears over 260 times. God remembers. And He repeatedly calls us to remember. What a magnificent blessing it is to have the ability to recall the past. Think about it. Without memory, there would be no learning, no reasoning, no emotions. Without memory, there would be no basis for any of those things. In fact, if you think about that, if we did not have memory, we would be pretty much as low as the animals and the birds of the sky, where we would only react upon stimuli. That's all we would do. But God gave us that gift. Memory is a blessing. It is one of those things that puts us above all of God's creation. God not only gave us the ability to remember, but He calls us to be a people of memorial, to remember in worship, to remember in service as we consider those who have served and have left us an example. And in our memory, we praise Him. So, this evening our thoughts will be around memorial and remembering, as many of us as all of us should on this weekend, remember many things. Read.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, I want to thank you for this Memorial Day weekend you've given us to come together with our families and to remember the sacrifices that were made for us to be able to live in this country and to have the freedom that we have simply to come here and to worship you tonight, Lord. We pray that we would take the lessons that are given tonight, Lord, and we put them to use throughout our lives, Lord, and that we would do our best throughout this week to represent Christ, Lord. We pray all this in your Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
The first scripture tonight will be from Luke 22, verses 14 through 19. Luke 22, 14 through 19. When the hour came, Jesus and his apostles reclined at the table, and he said to them, I have eagerly desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. For I tell you, I will not eat of it again until it finds fulfillment in the kingdom of God. After taking the cup, he gave thanks and said, Take this and divide it among you. For I tell you, I will not drink of it again from the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of God comes. And he took the bread and gave thanks and broke it and gave it to them, saying, This is my body given for you. Do this in remembrance of me.
Good evening. Our first song tonight will be number 531, 531. Let's stand as we sing. Praise the Lord, ye heavens, adore him. Praise him, angels in the height. Sun and moon rejoice before him. Praise him, all ye stars of light. Hallelujah, amen. 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 Praise the Lord, for he is glorious. Never shall his promise fail. God hath made his saints victorious. Sin and death shall not prevail. Hallelujah, amen. 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 Praise the God of our salvation. Hosts on high his power proclaim. Heaven, earth, and all creation laud and magnify his name. Hallelujah, amen. 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 You may be seated.
Good evening. Let's sing number 207. 207, Hark the Gentle Voice. We'll sing the first and last verses. Hark the gentle voice of Jesus falleth tenderly upon your ear. Sweet his cry of love and pity calleth. Turn and listen, stay and hear. Ye that labor and are heavy laden, lean upon your dear Lord's breast. Ye that labor and are heavy laden, come and I will give you rest. Then his loving tender voice obeying, bear his yoke, his burden take. Find the yoke his hand is on you laying, light and easy for his sake. Ye that labor and are heavy laden, lean upon your dear Lord's breast. Ye that labor and are heavy laden, come and I will give you rest.
We will be singing number 841, Sing and Be Happy, 841. If the skies above you are gray, you are feeling so blue. If your cares and burdens seem great all the whole day through, there's a silver lining that shines in the heavenly land. Look by faith and see it, my friend. Trust these promises grand. Sing and be happy, press on to the goal. Trust him who leads you, he will keep your soul. Let all be faithful, look to him and pray. Lift your voice and praise him in song. Sing and be happy today. Off we fail to see the rainbow up in heaven's fair sky. When it seems the fortunes of earth frown and pass us by, there are things we know that are worth more than silver and gold. If we hope and trust in each day, we shall have pleasure untold. Sing and be happy, press on to the goal. Trust him who leads you, he will keep your soul. Let all be faithful, look to him and pray. Lift your voice and praise him in song. Sing and be happy today.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, and thank you for allowing us to be here today and worship you, and to remember your Son and how he died on the cross for our sins. And thank you for the youth group men who are leading services and take the lessons and put it to our daily lives. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
If you'd like to read along with me, I'll be reading Joshua 4, 5 through 7, and 21 through 24. And Joshua said to them, "Cross again to the ark of the Lord your God into the middle of the Jordan, and each of you take up a stone on his shoulder, according to the number of tribes of the son of Israel. Let this be a sign among you, so that when your children ask later, saying, 'What do these stones mean to you?' Then you shall say to them, 'Because the waters of the Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord, when it crossed the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan were cut off. So these stones shall become a memorial to the sons of Israel forever.'" And 21 through 24. He said to the sons of Israel, "When your children ask their fathers in time to come, saying, 'What are these stones?' Then you shall inform your children, saying, 'Israel crossed this Jordan on dry ground. For the Lord your God dried up the waters of the Jordan before you until you had crossed, just as the Lord your God had done to the Red Sea, which he dried up before us until we had crossed, that all the peoples of the earth may know that the hand of the Lord is mighty, so that you may fear the Lord your God forever.'"
Let's stand as we sing number 231. 231, Hilltops of Glory. We'll sing all three verses. Onward rejoicing, I tread life's way. Higher I'm climbing each passing day. Hilltops of glory now rise in view, where all shall be made new. Hilltops of glory. Oh, brother, won't you come go with me? Safe on the mountain I soon shall stand. Hilltops of glory land. Way down in Egypt, mid-burning sand, Moses had started for Canaan's land. Never turn backward, always ascend. I'm on the journey's end. Hilltops of glory. Oh, brother, won't you come go with me? Safe on the mountain I soon shall stand. Hilltops of glory land. Footsteps of Jesus before us lead. We tread life's journey, his warnings heed. Evil allurements cannot prevail. I'm on the upward trail. Hilltops of glory. Oh, brother, won't you come go with me? Safe on the mountain I soon shall stand. Hilltops of glory land. You may be seated.
We'll be singing number 350, Jesus Hold My Hand. We'll sing the first and last verse. As I travel through this pilgrim land, there is a friend who walks with me, leads me safely through the sinking sand. It is the Christ of Calvary. This would be my prayer, dear Lord, each day to help me do the best I can. For I need thy light to guide me day and night. Blessed Jesus, hold my hand. Jesus, hold my hand. I need thee every hour. Through this pilgrim land, protect me by thy power. Hear my feeble plea. O Lord, look down on me. When I kneel in prayer, I hope to meet you there. Blessed Jesus, hold my hand. When I wander through the valley dim toward the setting of the sun, lead me safely to a land of rest. If I a crown of life have won, I have put my faith in thee, dear Lord, that I may reach the golden strand. There's no other friend on whom I can depend. Blessed Jesus, hold my hand. Jesus, hold my hand. I need thee every hour. Through this pilgrim land, protect me by thy power. Hear my feeble plea, O Lord, look down on me. When I kneel in prayer, I hope to meet you there. Blessed Jesus, hold my hand.
Good evening. Tonight we will be singing number 1, A Beautiful Life. Number 1, verses 1 and 5. Each day I'll do a golden deed by helping those who are in need. Our life on earth is but a span, and so I'll do the best I can. Life's evening sun is sinking low. A few more days, and I must go to meet the deeds that I have done, where there will be no setting sun. While going down life's weary road, I'll strive to help some traveler's load. I'll try to turn the night to day, make flowers bloom along the way. Life's evening sun is sinking low. A few more days, and I must go to meet the deeds that I have done, where there will be no setting sun.
Let's pray. Dear God, thank you for this wonderful day that you've given us, and please help us to remember all the people who fought for our freedom, and help us to never take that for granted, Lord. And please help us to hear the things tonight and apply them in our daily lives, and be with us as we go our separate ways tonight, Lord, and keep us safe and help us to always remember you and make the right decisions. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
All right, tonight we'll be reading Genesis chapter 9, verses 12 through 17. This is reading off the New American Standard Version. God said, "This is the sign of the covenant which I am making between me and you and every living creature that is with you. For all successive generations I set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a sign of a covenant between me and the earth. It shall come about when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the bow will seen in the cloud, and I will remember my covenant which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. And never again shall the water become a flood to destroy all flesh. When the bow is in the cloud, then I will look upon it, to remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth." And God said to Noah, "This is the sign of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is on the earth."
Please turn your songbooks to number 48, Anywhere with Jesus, number 48. Anywhere with Jesus I can safely go, anywhere he takes me in this world below, anywhere with him the storms would fade, anywhere with Jesus I am not afraid, anywhere, here I cannot know, anywhere with Jesus I can safely go, anywhere
gone to sleep, when the darkening shadows round about me creep, knowing I shall waken nevermore to roam anywhere with Jesus while we home, sweet home. Anywhere, anywhere, here I cannot know. Anywhere with Jesus I can safely go.
Please turn your songbooks to number 383, Just Over in the Glory Land. And we'll sing the first, second, and last verse. I've a home prepared where the saints abide, just over in the glory land. And I long to be by my Savior's side, just over in the glory land. Just over in the glory land I'll join the happy angel band. Just over in the glory land. Just over in the glory land, there with the mighty host I'll stand. Just over in the glory land. I am on my way to those mansions fair, just over in the glory land. There to sing God's praise and His glory share, just over in the glory land. Just over in the glory land I'll join the happy angel band, just over in the glory land. Just over in the glory land, there with the mighty host I'll stand. Just over in the glory land, with the blood-washed throng I will shout and sing. Just over in the glory land. Glad hosannas to Christ the Lord and King, just over in the glory land. Just over in the glory land I'll join the happy angel band, just over in the glory land. Just over in the glory land, there with the mighty host I'll stand. Just over in the glory land.
We will be singing number 708, Walking in Sunlight. Number 708, Walking in Sunlight, first and last verse. Walking in sunlight all of my journey, over the mountains, through the deep vale. Jesus has said, I'll never forsake thee, promise divine that never can fail. Heavenly sunlight, flooding my soul with glory divine. Hallelujah, I am redeemed. bright sunlight, ever rejoicing, pressing my way to mansions above, singing his praises. Gladly I'm walking, walking in sunlight, sunlight of love. Heavenly sunlight, flooding my soul with glory divine. Hallelujah, I am rejoicing, singing his praises. Jesus is mine.
Let's pray. Dear God in heaven, thank you for this day. Thank you for all that you've given us. Just help us to remember that no day is promised, and help us take nothing for granted. Help us to always remember the memorial of the cross, Lord, and thank you for letting us gather here today and be with all those who are on the sick list and may not have come, whether by choice or they just had something going on, Lord. Just be with anyone who needs you right now. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I will be reading Exodus 13, 14 through 16. Exodus 13, 14 through 16. In the days to come, when your son asks you, "What does this mean?" say to him, "With a mighty hand the Lord brought us out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. When Pharaoh stubbornly refused to let us go, the Lord killed every firstborn in Egypt, both man and animal. This is why I sacrifice to the Lord the first male offspring of every womb and redeem each of my firstborn sons, and it will be like a sign on your hand and a symbol on your forehead that the Lord brought us out of Egypt with his mighty hand."
Let's sing number 829, Mansion Over the Hilltop, 829. Let's sing and stand. I'm satisfied with just a cottage below, a little silver and a little gold. But in that city where the ransom will shine, I want a gold one, that silver light. I've got a mansion just over the hilltop, in that broad land where we'll never grow old. And someday on earth we'll never more wander, but walk the streets that are pure as gold. Don't think me pure, deserted or lonely. I'm heaven bound, but just a pilgrim in search of a city. I want a gold throne, a robe and a crown. I've got a mansion just over the hilltop, in that bright land where we'll never grow old. And someday on earth we'll never more wander, but walk the streets that are pure as gold. Please be seated.
We'll be singing number 714, Trust and Obey, 714. We'll be singing the first and last verse. When we walk with the Lord in His light of His word, what a glory He sheds on our way. While we do His good will, He abides with us still, and with all who will trust and obey. Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus, but to trust and obey. Then in fellowships we will sit at His feet, or will walk by His side in the way. What He says we will do, where He sends we will go. Never fear, only trust and obey. Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus, but to trust and obey.
If you'd like to mark the invitation, that will be number 454. 454. After you've marked that, please turn over to number 500. 500. We'll sing all three verses. O thou fount of every blessing, tune my heart to sing thy grace. Streams of mercy, never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. Teach me ever to adore thee, may I still thy goodness prove, while the hope of endless glory fills my heart with joy and love. Here I raise my Ebenezer, hither by thy help I've come, and I hope by thy good pleasure arrive at home. Jesus sought me when a stranger, wandering from the fold of God. He to rescue me from danger interposed His precious blood. Oh, to grace how great a debtor daily I'm constrained to be. Let thy goodness like a fetter bind my wandering heart to thee. Never let me wander from thee, never leave the God I love. Here's my heart, oh, take and seal it for thy courts above.
One of the questions that we hear throughout the scriptures this evening is, what will your children say? What will your children ask? Well, I think tonight we have a testimony to a lot of our young people. And that is that they are here and they are practicing faith because of what you remember, of what you participate in, of what you have fellowship in, how that you enjoy the brotherhood, the church, how you realize the importance of remembering Christ on the first day of the week and every day. I hope when I meet my sunset days that my children will be able to say, not what did this mean, but they'll say that I understand the importance of the church. I understand the importance of the gospel. I understand the importance of servitude and serving and growing in maturity. That's what I hope. Wouldn't it be sad if our children were to say, I didn't really learn much, didn't see it was that necessary, or I didn't ever see that it was not that important to you? I believe tonight that you're here this evening because you do believe that with your whole heart. Remembering allows us to do that. Memorial Day weekend, we gather around, for example, the graves like many have gathered around this weekend. Many of us were able to do that yesterday morning at the National Cemetery, and you think about, and you get to talk the story about this country. You see the flag. You see the red. And you know that in the church, without the shedding of blood, there is no remission, and that is through Jesus Christ. But you also know without the shedding of blood, we do not have the freedom that we have in our country today. And as you read those graves, especially those that died in foreign lands, I believe this year is the 75th anniversary of D-Day. Those fellows never got to come home. They were buried there. And you realize the sacrifice, and you have that opportunity to honor them by telling the story. You have the opportunity to honor those that were loved ones, your family, and you get to tell the stories, as many of you have already participated in already, and some will do tomorrow. You'll laugh. You may cry. But you'll be reassured that their positive influence on you will matter. And hopefully that will energize you and motivate you to be the right person for your family, for your children, for your church, for your brothers and sisters. Memorial Day allows us to reflect. It's something we have an opportunity to do every Lord's Day. To count our blessings, to not complain, but realize the great spiritual blessings that we have in Jesus Christ and in His church. That's what reflection does. Most of us probably do not remember who won the last 5 World Series or who won the last 5 Grammys or the last 5 Miss Americas. But we do remember people who influenced us, who loved us, who nurtured us, who cared for us, who taught us the way, who encouraged us and edified us in the Lord. We remember those. And that's the way I want to be remembered. And I know that's the way you want to be remembered. What a great blessing it is for God to bless us with an opportunity to be people of memorials. In fact, a living memorial. To whom? To Christ. If there's anything we can do for you this evening, if you need to rededicate your life to becoming a living memorial, we're here for you. We're family. Please come now as we stand and as we sing. What can wash away my sin? Nothing but the blood of Jesus.
What can make me whole again? Nothing but the blood of Jesus. Oh, precious is the flow that makes me white as snow. No other fount I know, nothing but the blood of Jesus. Nothing can for sin atone, nothing but the blood of Jesus. Not of good that I have done, nothing but the blood of Jesus. Oh, precious is the flow that makes me white as snow. No other fount I know, nothing but the blood of Jesus. Please remain standing.
If you're unable to take the Lord's Supper this morning, it's been left prepared in the 310 room, and you're now dismissed. Our closing song this evening will be number 421, 421. I was sinking deep in sin, far from the peaceful shore, very deeply stained within, sinking to rise no more. But the Master of the sea heard my despairing cry. From the waters lifted me, now safe am I. Love lifted me, love lifted me. When nothing else could help, love lifted me, love lifted me, love lifted me. When nothing else could help, love lifted me. Souls in danger, look above. Jesus completely saves. He will lift you by his love out of the angry waves. He's the master of the sea, billows his will obey. He, your Savior, wants to be saved today. Love lifted me, love lifted me. When nothing else could help, love lifted me, love lifted me, love lifted me. When nothing else could help, love lifted me.
Let's pray. Dear God, I thank you for this day, and I thank you for everything you've gave us, and I thank you for the men and women who have died for this country, and I hope that we will remember them tomorrow, and I hope that we will take this lesson that you've given us and put in our everyday lives. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Tardy.